G'day, I'm Patrick. Welcome to the workshop. Today I'm going to show you how to make a really simple drilling jig for drilling a hole on an angle. What I'm doing specifically is trying to put a 25mm mortise into the top of a little stool so that I can put a 25mm tenon in. But I want that tenon and that leg to sit at about 5 degrees off vertical. Now, you could go to your drill press, set it at 5 degrees and drill that really simply. But there's so many times when you've got a piece that just won't fit in the drill press because it's too big or it's already attached to something. And so a simple drilling jig will allow you to take an angle that you are able to set at the drill press onto your work and keep it super repeatable. And I'll give you some tips along the way to make those holes as clean as possible on the front end and the back end. For this video, my seat stock is going to be 30mm thick Oregon. That's what I'm building all of these projects out of, and so that's what I'm going to demonstrate this on. I'm going to make my jig out of some 35mm pine. Essentially, they're old studs or noggins that have been cut up. A jig like this, if you're going to use it over and over, should really be as hard a timber as is practical for you to use. So in terms of accuracy, using something like black butt, or even something just a bit harder like Tassie oak or American oak, would be better than pine. However, I need to prepare a bunch of these for a lesson I'm teaching, so it made sense to just use some pine and it will give me the same results, and these jigs will really only be used once or twice. So if you're building this at home, use a hard timber, you will get more accuracy. You've got a Forstner bit, you've got a drill, why don't you just drill the hole straight through? Unless you are incredibly accomplished or very lucky, there is a very high chance that that drill bit will not go through straight, vertically or side to side. It's incredibly difficult as a single person standing in one position to get a drill bit to be perfectly vertical. You can generally get one direction very good and the other direction not so much. There's a couple of tricks you can do with mirrors and lasers, etc. But the simplest, most foolproof way that I've found is to just use a jig. Essentially what a jig is going to do is it's going to place a hole at that 5-degree angle that Forstner bit will follow down, and so that when the Forstner bit enters our work, it will already be at that 5 degrees. The other really important thing when drilling a mortise through a piece like this is we need to be able to protect the back to prevent tear out. As a drill bit like this, especially a big Forstner bit, exits our work, if it is not fully supported very cleanly to the base, you will get a lot of splintering of that hole, which will weaken the hole and look terrible. So we need to keep something really flat on the base to make sure that the hole is supported and we avoid tear out. Let's head over to the drill press. Okay, so I'm over at my drill press and I've got the little jig that I created to make the jig. This is just a very simple platform which will hold my jig at exactly 5 degrees. And you might be asking, why would I not just rotate the drill press table to 5 degrees? Because almost all drill presses have some way of doing that. With this one, you undo that bolt and it's got a little, ruler on the side that will even set the degrees for you. The reason that I found that to be not ideal occasionally is you don't always know exactly where the axis is. So you might have tilted the table to 5 degrees, but then you've located your workpiece, which in this case is a jig, slightly off that axis, and all of a sudden your 5 degrees is not running in the direction you want it to. By creating this jig, no matter how I clamp it to the flat drill press table, the drill will always be approaching my workpiece at 5 degrees off vertical in the axis I want it to, because this jig has this little saddle, which is perfectly square to the bottom edge, that will hold my work at the right orientation. So that jig to make a jig only took me 3 minutes to make, and it's easier than finding the exact center axis of your drill press sometimes. And for me, it's a little more foolproof. All I had to do to figure out that angle was just a bit of maths, and I just did that using a calculator because Pythagoras is not in my head. So to get about a 5 degree angle over a jig that's about 300mm long, I knew that I needed to raise it up 26mm, so I put some packers in there. This 5 degree jig, to make a 5 degree jig, will get used precisely once, so that's about as much work as I'm going to put into it. The next thing I need to do for my particular jig is figure out the location that I want the hole to enter the wood, and what I need to consider is that the place that it enters is going to be slightly offset from the place that it exits. And in my case, I really care about where it exits because that is where it's going to be placed within my work. So I know that I want it to exit 60mm in from the end, and I know it's going to be at 5 degrees. So I could do the maths and figure out how far back my entry hole needs to sit. I haven't done that. I've just said I'm going to put it at 65. In this case, if it lands in the timber at 62 mil or 60 mil, it doesn't matter as long as it's consistent across all of them. So this will mark 65 mil up, and I want it to be in the dead center from left to right. So I know that this is 70, so I'm going to mark it at 35. Whenever I mark center on anything, I do it from both sides. And that means that I can see if I've been off in my measurement and just drill in between those lines. It just is a way of checking accuracy. Now I can clamp my jig into my jig, making sure that the center of my Forstner bit is right on that dot. And then once my jig making jig is clamped to the drill press table, I can make a bunch of these, which you might not need to do, but as this is for a particular lesson I'm teaching, I need to make a bunch of them. Now all I need to do is drill it out. If you are making a few of these like I am, every time you pull out your work and put a new piece in, you don't need to remark the measurements because the jig is clamped in place. But you do need to make sure that sawdust has not built up inside the jig here, because it will prevent these sitting in the same spot. Once you've done one and you've penetrated the bottom surface of the jig, you can actually set your depth so that you know that you're not going to keep going further and further each time. Okay, now I can do a bunch. Okay, so now you have your basic jig made. You just need to do some marking out to make sure you can use it really accurately. Obviously, top surface, right up, because if it's only 5 degrees, you might go the wrong way. I've put these on one end rather than in the center so that I can always reference from one end. It might be important for your particular application that you put lines that continue from the extent of the hole all the way around the side so that you can line them up with your reference on your workpiece. Or you might need the center line depending on how you've marked it out. So that's just a matter of getting a square, following those lines around. I've made these that I've then attached to really long boards if I need to drill an angled hole in the center of a table, for instance. There's no way you could get that to the drill press, but also you can't make a jig that's that big, so you just need to make the component and then enlarge the jig out from that. In my particular instance, the location that I want these holes is pretty close to the end, so I can keep this jig flush with my work on two sides, and then I can move it over to the other side of the stool, and that 5-degree angle will always remain the same, and then flip it around to do exactly the same thing on the other side. If you're having trouble with slippage, you can double-sided tape a little bit of sandpaper to the bottom edge. That will really help when you clamp this down, and you will want to clamp it down. A jig like this will not guarantee perfect alignment with a Forstner bit, because a Forstner bit just doesn't have that much reference surface. The reference surface really is that sort of 15 mil depth of the bit itself. If you're using a standard drill bit, like a twist drill, they only kind of generally go up to about 12 mil or a little bit bigger. That entire drill bit is reference surface, so you can get an incredibly straight drilling jig using a standard twist drill. However, when you're using one of these jigs with a Forstner bit, you have to make sure that the shank is sitting in the middle of that hole, because there's still a degree or so of wiggle. So if your drilling operation is absolutely critical, you just need to keep that in mind, that there is a little bit of human error still possible with a jig like this. This particular jig is designed to place an angled leg on this stool at 5 degrees. And I've made the jig so that we actually drill from the top. This works because this is going to be a through tenon, like a wedged leg that comes up through the top of the surface. If you were doing a blind tenon, so it only goes partially through your seat or your work, then you would obviously need to come from the underside and your angle would be the opposite. The reason I like coming through the top is it means that this face that we'll see the most is going to be the cleanest. The point when the drill bit or the Forstner bit enters the timber through our jig will be perfectly clean. There is a possibility that as it exits, it will be rough. And there are ways that you can avoid that. I'm going to demonstrate what happens if I clamp this down on a surface where the exit hole is unsupported. just so you can see the kind of tear out that occurs. And to do that, I'm gonna have to shove it on some rickety pine or something. So if I clamp this underneath and clamp the whole thing down, some of the hole will be unsupported. You do need to clear the hole a number of times because the waste builds up in there and it has no real way of evacuating, which means it heats up your Forstner bit, makes it blunter. So you can see here, the Forstner bit only partially exited and it tore away this giant chunk. Really horrible underneath. That is not acceptable for a piece of furniture in my opinion. But if we can clamp this on a really flat surface so that the bottom of the hole is fully supported, we can avoid almost all of that tear out. So I'm gonna grab a piece of chipboard, pretty flat, put my jig back on, clamp it down, do it again. Top side, very, very clean, crisp. Bottom side, also really clean and crisp because the hole exited in this. Now, don't make the mistake of trying to use this over and over again and ending up drilling into that hole because it will never perfectly align and you'll end up getting tear out. So slide this over, use a clean spot each time, and that way you will get a clean hole. I also want to show you the difference in performance with one of these Fisch bits. Now this one was in my drill press, which is why I was using my older style one here in the hand in the power drill here. But I found these to be much faster and cleaner. Well, that went through in less than half the time. I barely had to push on it. I stopped halfway to clear the waste, but it kind of would have just kept going. It's amazing the difference that a really sharp and well-designed tool will make. I have been really impressed with this. It's Fisch, spelled F-I-S-C-H, but they're incredibly sharp and they clear waste really effectively and they're a joy to use. Often Forstner bits are really hard to push through. They inherently have a lot of friction. It's a lot of surface area. You're removing a lot of material. This speeds it right up. And nice clean hole, as expected, because we protected it. So that's how I make really simple drilling jigs. It may be overly simple for a lot of you, but I hope it is useful as well. There are other things that help you do that. Like I said, some people use mirrors and lasers. You can also use one of those sort of drill press things that turns your handheld drill into a drill press. They have their uses, but I find making a simple jig like this often faster and a lot of the time more accurate because you're just using the drill, which is lighter in your hand. I've used this kind of thing to make whole fancy pegboard setups where I need to drill angled holes in an entire sheet of plywood or hardwood. I've used it to drill mortises in tabletops for large chunky legs and other types of joinery. Jigs for jigs. I just think that it is a really simple way and should cost you nothing really with offcuts to make your work more accurate and drill unusual angled holes wherever you need them. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you found it useful. Subscribe to the channel. We'll have all kinds of things like this. I have a giant project coming up that I'm going to put all together, a dining table in one video, so look out for that. There'll be some links down below to the Fisch bits that I've used, that Forstner bit, and some other bits and pieces. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.